Join me today as we step into the dining room where I'll be creating my vision for Twas the Night Before Christmas. This room is all about capturing that cozy, old-fashioned holiday feeling with vintage charm and heavy on the vintage. Joe here. Thanks for stopping by today in my continuation of Christmas 2025. Twas the Night Before Christmas. And today we're going to be working on top of the hutch in the dining room, and that's where the book that I've been creating for the rooms will be placed. And this time the pages will be open to the beginning of the story, Twas the Night Before Christmas, when all through the house. In this room, I want to create the idea of what we think of as Christmas as an adult, but through the eyes of a child. Because as we, grow older, we tend to, I guess we gloss things over, or we remember things slightly different than they actually were. And a lot of us begin to forget about that. So what I'm going to try to do is use a lot of vintage charm in this room. And what I mean by that is I'm using ornaments that Marianne and I have had since we were both children. So we'll be using a lot of shiny brights in there and images of toys and so on to give the idea of that, what we felt when we were kids, the excitement and the magic and, the belief in the whole idea of Christmas, including Santa Claus, that we experienced when we were kids. So today I'll be working on top of that hutch, and I'm going to be using mostly stuffed animals, a couple of toys up there, wrapped presents, and I'm going to use a tiny toy train. So those of you that know me and watch me over the years know that many years I do use those because I always try to capture the idea of what Christmas felt like when we were kids. So here, it's more visible on top of the hutch than where I usually put it. So hopefully it will give that feeling to a lot of people when they visit and they see it. Now, like I said, what you're going to see is I started the garland on the front of the hutch. And this year I'm using color lights in there, the red, the blue, the green, like that, because that's the kind of lights that we had when we were kids. I put that garland on, but I'm not decorating that garland in this video because I needed to get up against the hutch, and that would have really been a pain in the butt. So what I'm doing is I'm working up on the top, and it took a while. I want to say, let's see, last night I did the garland on the front of the hutch. First of all, I had to take the doors off the china closet, and then I had to put the garland on. That took about 2.5 hours, and this morning I've been working on the top for 4 hours straight. So I'm pooped already, and I keep looking over there because I'm looking at it and it's done. The top is done already. So I hope you enjoy this, and I tried to video the best I could because I was up and down that ladder about 8 million times. Let's see, just today on that ladder I did 5,000 steps going up and down. All right, everybody, stay tuned for that, and I hope you enjoy it. All right, so here we are at the hutch right here. You see my ladder is out and I'm ready to go. I have to start first with a base garland. I have tiny little nails up there that allows me to floral wire the garland there. I'm also coming down in the front, and if you notice, it got thicker because I added another garland up there. So I want it nice and thick and full, and I'm not going to add extra branches like I did if you saw my mantle video, but I do want it thick. So that's 2 layers of garland right there. And you can see how pretty that's looking already and how festive, and there's nothing on it and there's not even any lights yet, but just that garland gives that festive feeling. I'm using the multicolor lights this year because, like I said, this room is going to be vintage looking. I don't use the color lights very often. Marianne really likes them because it reminds us of when we were kids. I'm sorry for that glare right there. But anyway, you can see here how nice that looks. It's very festive looking, and it's going to add to the old world vintage retro charm that I want present in this room. So usually the dining room is done in more of an elegant kind of a way. Well, anyway, that's what I think. But This year I'm going in a different direction. I'm really going into the retro and the vintage and what Christmas kind of looked like when we were kids. I'm using, the color lights and whatnot in here. And so I'm going to start, you saw I put the garland on the china closet here, but I can't put anything on it yet because it'll get in my way when I'm working on top. So I'm going to create something up on top, something very whimsical and something that evokes feelings of when we were kids. So I'm probably going to put like presents up there and toys and these giant C9 bulb lights, and then I will move on to the garland in the front once I get that up. So it'll add to that idea of what this room is all about. It'll all come together as you see the subsequent videos here of what my intent for this room is going to be. Okay, so I'm just showing you some of the stuffed animals I'm using. I used the tall one in the center, and then I started doing symmetrical, but then I quickly got out of that. And actually, I just forgot to keep on videoing because I was so intent on going up and down and the placement and wiring everything together and whatnot. It was a little bit of a chore, only because it's on the ladder. But anyway, you're going to see the finished product soon. I'm going to try to show you it without the lights on because the lights produce an unbearable glow. The chandelier is still producing a glow, but the lights, those C9, those giant C9 bulbs are LEDs, and they're so bright that it looks crazy on the video. So I will show you with the lights on, but I didn't want you to get distracted by that. Now, I wanted this to look like, a pile of toys, but honestly, it is not haphazard. Everything was placed with care and thought. That's the only way you can do something that looks like this. Otherwise, it'll just look like a heap of junk. Here's another view from down this end. I'm trying to avoid the chandelier so it doesn't get in your viewing way. All right, so the next view is I'm going to put the lights on so you can see what it looks like. Hope the glare doesn't bother you so much. So I think you get the idea that especially that blue one, it makes so much glare. But anyway, so that's what it looks like with the lights on. It's very festive looking, and it does give that old world look, not old world, that retro look that I want. Now right in the center between the second and third car of the train, that's where the book is going to go. So in the next video, you'll see the placement of that. Okay, buddy, thanks for stopping by today. I hope you enjoyed this and how I do an over the top of the hutch. And I'll be seeing you soon. So take care. Bye-bye.